Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year again. It's the Apple Keynote time. So what do we expect from them this year? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything we know about the iPhone 13 lineup before next week's event. Mike. Yeah, John Prosser just released a video showing what the iPhone 14 might look like next year. Oh, for f***'s sakes. Wrap it up. Let's go home. I'm kidding, just joking. Let's get through this year first. This way, you can make an educated decision on which phone you might be buying or not buying because your phone has more cracks in the screen than a PA Road. Pennsylvania joke, sorry folks. Let's go! So the biggest criticism every year when a new phone is announced is that it's not worth upgrading. Pass! People, these companies aren't making these phones for those who bought last year. I mean, look, if you want to upgrade every year and you can afford it, go for it. But when I see people out in the wild using iPhones, I usually see 3-4-year-old phones. So these phones are being marketed towards them. So chill out, nerds. Speaking of criticism, why are 98% of you watching this video not subbed? I mean, come on. Also, leave me some comments. I need them. Like, seriously, where are all my supporters? If you're interested in info on the latest tech, go ahead and hit that sub button, turn on notification bell so you don't miss my next video. So, last year's iPhone 12 lineup ushered in a change in design that really made the phone more squared off. I really love the look at this since it reminds me of the old iPhone 4 through the 5 generations. The bad side is the phone does feel bigger and bulkier, even though it may not be. So if you aren't a fan of this design, it's gonna be more of the same this year. But that could be a good thing for you if you might be looking for a new phone. But first, this is what the iPhone 13 should look like this year. Some minor changes to the body, might get a few new colors, lenses moved around a little bit. Hey, real talk for a moment. Can we just take a second to appreciate my good friend Apple Tomorrow from Twitter for making these renders? Like, seriously, these are not pictures. He made these from scratch. This kid is incredible. So please make sure you check out the links in my description, follow him on Twitter and YouTube. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, show him some love, and share which one is your favorite from his renders. Don't be shy, come on. I do need more comments. Like now, go while you're watching this. In the world of pretty much every smartphone, when a big upgrade occurs, the next year or two might be minor upgrades that you're really not missing all that much. This could save you a lot of money. Here's why. There have been rumors that the pricing could increase this year for the iPhone 13 lineup. Now, this is something I don't quite understand why there would be an increase if there really isn't that big of a change made to even justify it. So that's something I think is just best to wait for the event next week. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to assume the pricing stays the same. So as far as the specs go, here's what it looks like for each tier, starting with the 12 mini and the 13 mini. By the way, I don't suggest buying either of those unless you get a really good deal, but more on that in a second. A big rumored upgrade will be the battery. The mini lineup does have a modest increase of 179 milliamps. As you can see, the 12 mini was 2227, and the 13 mini is going to be 2406. The 13 and 13 Pro share the same increase at a nice 280 milliamp bump. As you can see here, the 12 at 2815, the 13 at 3095, and of course the same thing for the Pro lineup. Now the Max line sees the biggest increase for obvious reasons. We're getting a whopping 665 milliamp increase, and there's the 12 Pro Max against the 13 Pro Max, 3687, bumping up to 4352. Now, I know for most people, the battery sizes in the 12s was more than enough to get them through the day if you weren't a heavy user. Now, while the increase for the phones is great and I really like to see it, this is potentially really needed because they are upping the refresh rate of the screens from 60 Hz on the 12s to 120 Hz on the 13s. Of course, many articles go on to report that the use of 120 Hz on the phone will be used when it's called for. Gaming, streaming mobile actions. Apparently, it will be reduced when it's not being used to help save battery. Now, when companies like Samsung did this, we saw videos of people comparing 60 to 120 Hz. what made me laugh was, in order to really see the difference, the video needed to be slowed down. Unless you plan on watching life in slow-mo, this really doesn't do jack shit for you. I am going to be honest here. I have used phones that have the 120 hertz refresh rate, and while it did look a little better, I honestly still don't think it's a big enough improvement that I would sacrifice battery life for that. Now, unless Apple does something special and it looks absolutely awesome, but I doubt that because these are screens from Samsung anyway, so not really that important. And the same thing goes for 5G. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to say, it's the greatest thing. You still don't need it on, and it still kills your battery. You don't need it. I don't care. Don't at me. Now, every year, the camera on the smartphone seemed to take center stage, and we all like to compare previous generations, and I've read a few things changing across the lineup, including shifting the lens on the back of the 13s on a diagonal. I don't know what that's going to do, but all phones will now include previously only available on the Pros, something called the Sensor Shift Optic Image Stabilization, aka smoother video. Very important. On the Pros, a better wide-angle lens, which could help for better low-light performance. ProRes video for the Pro line, much like ProRes RAW that we saw for pictures. Also, portrait features for video. This could be really cool. However, it does remain to be seen which phones will be getting this. I could see it being reserved for the Pro line. However, people really like using camera portrait on the photo side. So availability on all phones would also really be a seller. So I could see why Apple would offer it up to the entire line to really entice people to upgrade to the 13. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. Either way, I will 100% be testing out the cameras, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. When it comes to the pricing of these phones, the argument years ago was they're too expensive. Well, they haven't gotten any cheaper, and like I just mentioned, I'm not sure they won't be going up again. Now, as far as the 12 mini pricing, and now the 13 mini, I think it was overpriced at $699 to begin with. In fact, the sales were so bad, Apple stopped making the 12 mini. Now, I think they're offering the 13 mini because they already had it in the line, thinking it was going to sell. Oops. In my opinion, if Apple took out a number of features on this phone to lower the price, it really could have attracted more people. But it's not my company, and this could be it for the mini line this year as it's marketed right now. Now, maybe it could change down the road. I don't know. It could be a completely different form of a budget phone. We shall see. Now, last year, the 12 was priced at $799. You got a slightly larger screen, but not too big, a bigger battery right off the bat. So compared to what is improving on the 13, it looks like this could be the big seller again this year. Now, as far as why you would get the 13 Pro over the 13, or the 13 Pro Max over the 13 Pro, I think I definitely want to see what these bring to the table and see if there's any one big improvement that might want to use one over the other compared to the 12 line. Now, I truly hope there isn't a significant price increase to these phones this year, but with everything going on, who knows what limitations Apple is going to be facing. But what I do know is they aren't poor. And to take a little bit of percentage out of their profits to keep it close is the right thing to do. But whatever. Now, as far as other changes that we're going to see aesthetically to the phones, I have read that slightly smaller notch. Meh. Of course, this really sounds lame if Prosser's report of no notch for the 14 is right. Next, of course, they're going to have the new chip that's in line, the A15, which I'm sure is going to be some percentage faster than the 14. Better 5G. I guess. I wasn't really impressed with the 5G on my phone. In fact, I turned it off until I was in an area where I wanted to test to see if it was any better. It wasn't. Let's not forget some new colors. Hopefully we get a couple new colors this time, like this. Yeah. Again, my buddy, Apple Tomorrow. Kick ass. Now for a couple of the possible changes. Faster wireless charging, a stronger MagSafe connection so your stuff doesn't fall off the back of it. Did any of you use that? Besides it being in a case and whatever. And if you didn't see the invitations for the Apple event, it does move into the glowing Apple logo. And then beyond that, there's a glowing date, which I took as meaning maybe an always-on display for the iPhone. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Now, of course, beyond the iPhones next week, we could see a newer Apple Watch, which is redesigned, more squared off. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe some AirPods. This would really be cool, and I would definitely pick them up to try out. But if you want me to do a video on these, go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know what you would like to see. As we wait to see what unfolds next week, go ahead and check this video out I did right here on Apple using defective M1 chips. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on notification bell so you don't miss my next video. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.